Hi everyone, it's Joe Haley, Education Director for ASI's Training and Development Department. This is Promotional Products Industry 101. Our program agenda is a look at products, industry players, markets, and then finally some campaigns and promotions. So what is a promotional product? If you had to define it, it might be practical products that are branded with a logo, mascot, slogan, or company information, and often given with no implied reaction intended from the end user. So what does that mean? Say you go into a restaurant and at that host or hostess stand, you see a wicker basket, and in the basket are matches. You can take those matches without having to have a reservation to eat there, eating there, or drinking at the bar there. And quite frankly, that restaurant really doesn't care because what you've done is you've taken their advertising and you've put it in your pocket. So every time you pull those matches out to use them, it is brand penetration for that restaurant. You'll see their advertising and maybe want to eat there. So our industry umbrella is large, and there's some other industries that overlap that we'd like to count under that umbrella. The first one, premiums. Now, premiums are different than promotional products in several ways. One, a premium is earned. That means unlike those matches, you just can't take them. You need to do something. And it might be sending box tops of cereal in for an item. It might be winning a sales contest. Generally, they're not decorated. Sometimes they are, but generally, they're not decorated. And they're usually more expensive. These are higher end products that you would see in the consumer marketplace. Next are souvenirs. Now, a souvenir is something you would go to a gift shop and purchase, like this ashtray that says "Welcome to Las Vegas." What that ashtray does, it promotes that destination. And though you pay for it, it's still promotional in nature. Gifts with purchase. You'll see this around Mother's Day. You'll see this around the holidays, maybe ads in newspapers that say, come into this store, buy this perfume, buy this makeup kit, and get this umbrella or toiletry kit or this tote bag. Now, those locations do not increase the price of the perfume or the makeup. That gift is the incentive to come in and purchase the perfume and the makeup. And then we have on or impact giveaways. This Smirnoff bottle is an example of an on-pack giveaway. You see an LED light-up bracelet on the top of that bottle, and that bracelet is going to pulsate with sound, and it incents you to buy the Smirnoff because without buying it, you can't get the bracelet. The impact example on this slide is the Jameson bottle. That's in a box that has a window, so you actually can see the whiskey, and you can see the whiskey glasses that you're going to get for buying the Jameson. Now, just like the perfume and the makeup, the price of the alcohol here is not increased because it has products on it or in it. It's actually those products are incentives for the consumers to buy the bottle of Smirnoff or the bottle of Jameson. So we talk about premiums and giveaways. What else do we call promotional products? Well, sometimes they refer to a swag, and that stands for stuff we all get. Then there's advertising or ad specialties, freebies, advertising gifts, giveaways or event giveaways. Then we add this word here, tchotchke, and we note that it's a bad word. And some people might use tchotchke because that's what they hear. But what that word does, it kind of belittles the effectiveness of what promotional products can offer an advertiser. So we like to tell people don't use tchotchkes. And if you got clients that start calling promotional products tchotchkes, you might want to correct them. So a few years ago, we launched a study, Global Ad Impression Study. And over that time, we've talked to nearly 250,000 consumers across the United States, all 50 states, including cities, suburban areas, rural areas. Okay, we were up into Canada, down into Mexico, over in Europe. We actually had someone doing interviews in Sydney, Australia. And what we found is that advertising specialties are one of the most high impact, cost-effective advertising mediums around. I want to show you some statistics. We hope that will bear that. So let's look at some stats. This first graphic says that 850 is the number of impressions that an advertising calendar will get. Think about that. That ad message, company logo, will be seen 850 times. It really goes a long way to brand penetration. 80% of consumers own promotional T-shirts for years, and I mean years. It has been the top promotional item that buyers buy. It's a great product. We actually call it a walk-in billboard. And what that means is, as the wearer, I know what the brand is on there. I know what the message is on there. But every time I encounter someone during the day, they see it as well. And they're used for sporting events, for corporate events, clubs use them. There's so many opportunities. Nonprofits use them as well. This stat says that 3,300 is the number of impressions a promotional bag is going to generate through its lifetime. And think about that. 8, 10 years ago, they started banning single-use plastic bags at grocery stores. That's been great for our industry because now there's an opportunity to sell more non-woven polypropylene bags. And those are those reusable grocery bags. Grocery stores are either selling them for like 5 cents or giving them to their customers for free. And they're being repurposed for a lot of things. Day at the gym, pack up one of those bags. Go into the pool for the day? Well, some of them are insulated so you can take your lunch and your beverages. But bags have many other uses too, especially for trade shows. This graphic says that promo drinkware is kept an average of 12 months. Why? Well, it might be a mug and you drop it and you break that handle. Or it might be a piece of barware, you drop it and it breaks. And it's really a good advertising vehicle because with barware, people like to take it and they like to use it in their own homes. And the bars don't care because they're usually not paying for it. They get that from their beer distributor. You buy 2 kegs of Guinness, you get a case of Guinness pint glasses. If you need more, the bar just asks for them. And Guinness doesn't care if you steal those glasses either and you have them in your home. That's their advertising. That's their brand that you're drinking out of. 89% of consumers own promotional writing instruments. A very popular promotional product. Most people have some type of branded writing instrument. And as the industry goes, so goes the writing instruments, the pen. So back at the turn of the century, it was a fountain pen, which was brandable, as was the inkwell, the blotter, and the blotter paper. Then the ballpoint pen is invented in the 60s, and it's a game changer. Now there's new avenues for branding pens. Okay, and now today you look at them, there are paired with a variety of different things. They could have a USB flash drive embedded in there. There could be a flashlight on one end. Many of them come with a stylus so that you can operate your cell phone or a touchscreen on a tablet. You might even get one that has a highlighter on the other end. Makes it great for college students. And then this graph says that a promo jacket that costs 20 cents will have a CPI of only 0.3%, less than half a penny. That's really good return on investment because if it's a nice jacket, it could be a windbreaker. It could be a full zip-up hoodie. I mean, that's a long time, people will wear it, and the CPI, that's why it's so low. So the research found out how long people keep things. And on average, a nice piece of outerwear is kept for 16 months. And as you go down here, T-shirts for 14 months and keep going down. It's a long time to have an ad message out in the public eye. And quality and utility are why people keep promotional items. If it's of good quality, it's going to last, number one. And if the utility, if it serves a purpose and is useful for people, they're going to keep it. Okay, because selling a cheap pen just doesn't cut it. It really doesn't. Because if it doesn't write well, it won't be used. It might be thrown in the trash or thrown into a drawer and never be touched again. So that message is out of sight. If you have a client that wants a cheap pen and it doesn't work, it's going to reflect poorly on them as well. Because someone's going to say, this pen doesn't work, you look at it, it's like, what is it, what is this all about? This company is giving me a cheap pen. What does it say about them and what does it say about me? And it reflects poorly on the distributor for allowing the client to make a bad decision. Just getting a cheap pen is going to connote, it's not going to work, isn't good. You're going to want to steer them away something that is going to be reliable and right. So here's a list of popular products, very traditional products that year after year companies, organizations, schools are putting their logos on. T-shirts, drinkware, which can include tumblers, water bottles, it can include coffee mugs, barware, polos and sports shirts, caps and hats, bags, other wearables, writing instruments, which can be pens, markers, pencils, pen and pencil sets, desk and office accessories. We like to call that desktop real estate. It's a great spot to have an ad message. If you got a client whose customers spend a lot of time at their desk, a nice desk accessory is going to be used. A nice mouse pad, a nice journal. So it's an opportunity to have that advertisement, that message in front of them all the time when they're working. Mobile tech accessories, as cell phones change, there's always a need for new mobile tech products, and shirts that are non-tees or polos. And if you take this list and you group all the apparel items under an apparel heading, it's going to be more than a third of industry, purchases are in the apparel field. Let's talk about retail buying channel and how it's a little different than the promotional products buying channel. So in retail, if you want a Tommy Hilfiger shirt, you usually go to a store like Macy's. And there they got Tommy Hilfiger brand and you buy that. Hilfiger sells those shirts to Macy's. Then Macy's marks up that price and resells them to the consumer. We understand that and we're all okay with that. Any name brand that's being sold in a department store, that's how it happens. So in the promotional product industry, it happens just a little differently. So say you wanted a coffee mug, you could go to Macy's. They have a home department and you can get coffee mugs. But if you want coffee mugs that are customized with a company logo or slogan on there, we get them from suppliers in our industry. Suppliers customize that. And what they do, they sell them to the distributor, and then the distributor resells them to their client. So it doesn't work the same way as retail. While we know that you're going to mark it up as the distributor, why can't the buyer just go to the supplier? Well, that's not the type of arrangement that we have in this industry, and we're going to try and make some sense of that. So when we meet our players, we could talk about why that makes sense. The supplier decorates usually the product. They sell it to the distributor. So the distributor is the client of the supplier. The distributor resells it to the end buyer. So the end buyer is the client of the distributor. The end user gets the product from the end buyer. They might be an employee. They might be a customer. They might be a vendor. They just might be someone at an event, the general public. And they have a group that we call the others. So let's see how this works. Supplier. What are suppliers? Well, they're the manufacturer or importer of products. About 85% does come from overseas, primarily China, but they're the ones that have the goods. Often they're the decorator, but some are wholesalers of blank goods. Most of the wholesaler of blank goods we see with our larger apparel companies. So they will be a wholesaler for some national brands, but they'll also have their own brands as well, and they don't decorate them. So when a distributor has to get those brands, they need to find a decorator to do that for them. So how do they get their products to the market? If I said that, they can't sell directly to the buyer doesn't buy it directly from the supplier. They sell through the distributor network. And there's reasons why that works. Is because the distributor are their sales force, but the supplier doesn't pay the distributor. In fact, it's the distributor who buys the product from the supplier and then resells it to their buyer. And what the distributor can do is for a small supplier, they can offer coverage all over the country because distributors can sell any supplier product. So you don't need to have a sales representative making calls on museums, sports teams, schools, nonprofits in Florida and in Georgia and in Pennsylvania, and then on the West Coast in Oregon, in California. You would have to have too many people on the payroll. So you work through this distributor network, and you can get coverage all over the United States, and the suppliers are happy. So how do they find these distributors? Through ASI membership, we connect suppliers and distributors. We make it easy for them to find each other. Going to our trade shows, being a sponsor at a trade show, and also through some of our trade magazines and online content. So can they sell to the end buyer, though? We mentioned this a few times, but they don't sell to the end buyer doesn't buy from them. Can they sell? It's not illegal. It's not illegal to sell to the buyer, but the majority do not sell direct to the end buyer for the reasons earlier said, that they get coverage throughout the country, people who are selling their products, and they don't pay those people anything. So that's why this type of relationship works. So what is the distributor? The distributor is an independent reseller of a supplier's product line, the supplier's sales force. And the best part about being a distributor is that you have so many different suppliers that you're able to source product from. And products include writing instruments, hats, mugs, all those products that we saw on the list, and more. So you have an infinite supply of interesting products to sell to end buyers. Some sell products. So what does that mean? So if a client comes to you and says, and you're a distributor, and says, I want mugs, and you say how many and what color, that's selling a product. But when you ask questions, when distributors ask questions, then they're providing some solutions to possible problems. So if the buyer wants mugs and the distributor says why, the buyer says, I want them for a new employee gift. We have coffee all day at our facility, and we want to make new employees feel like part of the team from the word go. Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. So we figured out this is the right product for that promotion. So then the distributor can then ask, well, do your current 150 employees have company coffee mugs? And the buyer says no. Yeah, well, how will they feel that only new employees get them? And the buyer might say, yeah, there might be some hurt feelings. So let's get everyone a coffee mug, and then new employees, when they come in, will get a coffee mug. By asking a few questions, you have figured out that the product was right, and you alerted the buyer to a potential problem that they might have, and the solution is just buy mugs. And now that distributor has increased profits because they're selling more product. And distributors can offer so many other services, artwork and creative services. Not every company has a designer on staff to create their logo, to create logos for special events. Some distributors have someone on staff, or they use an independent contractor to do that. They can help with the event planning, PR campaigns, web and company store services, promotional program development. There's so many different things that distributors can do that in essence can make them an extension of a buyer's marketing department. So how do distributors sell promo products? Many of them prospect through canvassing. Canvassing is still very good. You go to an industrial park and there's 20 businesses in there, there's 20 prospects. No matter what type of business they run, there's always a need to market. There's always a need to advertise. There's always a need to promote. There's always a need to thank and recognize. They get referrals. Referrals are very big because within individual companies, there's more than one decision maker. So a company might have an HR department that uses promotional products, a sales department that uses promotional products, an event division that uses promotional products. So when they all use promotional products, there's always a different decision maker. So if you produce an order for the HR department, it's easy to say who else in your company uses promotional products. Does the sales division have sales contests where you need awards for them? Could you give me a referral? And then there's referrals through networking opportunities as well. Exhibiting at Chamber of Commerce events is another way to be able to show potential buyers what you can do for them in terms of marketing their products and services. And by going to other trade shows, just seeing, these are trade shows that are open to the public, just seeing how these exhibitors actually draw people to their booth. What type of on-show promotion are they doing? No one wants to go to a trade show to exhibit and have no one come to them and talk to them. Okay, you have to engage those attendees. If you have a nice giveaway that people can come up, and a nicer one when you can qualify someone as a potential client, you give them that. That's going to draw traffic. And how do they find suppliers? Same way as suppliers find distributors, through ASI membership, attending those trade shows, reading trade magazines, and online content as well. So there's the end buyer. Who is the end buyer? Well, it can be companies, organizations, people who buy branded products, nonprofit organizations, professional businesses, schools, booster clubs. You have someone says, hey, we're having a family reunion, and I want everyone to have, a T-shirt that commemorates that with our family crest on it and, the family name. Boom, promotional end buyer. So what types of branding do end buyers put on products? We discussed this at the beginning. Logos, slogans, messages, company information. There's many, many different things you can put. You can put a combination of things on there. The logo with the slogan. Just an ad message on there, a supportive message. Company information, which just might be the company name and contact information, depending on what the product is and what they're using it for, will probably determine what is actually going to go on the product. And why do they buy products? They use them for a variety of reasons. Fundraisers, goodwill, client or employee appreciation, advertisement, gift with purchase, awareness, welcome gift. There's so many different things that organizations, companies, schools can use promotional products for. And when distributors help them think through what the end result is, you'll find a great product for that. So the end user, who's the end user? The eventual recipient of the product. Again, that could be an employee, that could be a vendor, that could be a customer, that could be the general public when it's given out at an event, like an Earth Day event. And how do end users receive promotional products? They receive products at work, festivals, events, trade shows, in the mail. What do they do with them? They use them in their daily lives at work, for use around the house, when they're traveling. Sitting at my office desk right now, I have 10 different branded products on my desk, from journals to notepads, coffee mugs, coasters so I don't get a coffee mug ring on my desk, writing instruments, scissors, mouse pad. Again, that's that desktop real estate. So we use these things. And then the other category, that includes decorators, screen printers, and embroiderers. Because if you're buying those products that the larger apparel companies don't decorate, you need to find a decorator. Multi-line reps. That's a company that represents multiple suppliers' lines at once, often staff booths and trade shows and make client visits. So if you need coverage throughout the country as a supplier, because suppliers still do have salespeople, and they deal with regions where they'll make calls on distributors, you can go with a multi-line rep that handles a specific section of the country. Then there's service providers. ASI is a service provider. Common SKU is a service provider. Promo Corner is a service provider as well. So let's look at some of the top markets for promotional product sales. Number one, let's look at automotive. I mean, the market's pretty big. It includes car dealers, used car dealers, garages that do state inspections, garages that do collision repair, car rental companies, car detailers. There are a lot of related products that would fit the promotional needs of the automotive industry. The construction industry, that can include companies that are putting up high-rises in cities, residential houses, house rehab companies. And there's always a need there, especially on those bigger construction sites. Those employees have to have high visibility ANSI certified shirts. So when they're dealing with some of their contractors, those contractors might offer those construction companies shirts like that because they would have to buy them anyway. The education market is huge user of promotional products. It could be anything from K through 12, public, private, parochial. Some of those schools need uniforms, but think of all the clubs, the activities, the events, the sports teams that would use promotional items as well. And then higher education, colleges and universities, huge users, especially when the recruitment of potential students. And then again, all those clubs, the activities, the events, the awards, the sports needs. Financial insurance, these professional type organizations might use them for recruiting clients, or when they're delivering a financial plan to a client, they might put it in a nice leather pad folio that the client can keep. Health and medical, it's hospitals, doctors, medical services. It's the hospitals, all the signage that they have within the hospital, the signage that they take to them to health fairs and such. The hospitality industry, think about what they do for you in hotels when you stay. Is there special offers? Do you get special gifts? Manufacturing, you make something, you got to advertise it so people will buy it. Not only that, manufacturing companies will often run safety programs where they might launch the campaign with a meeting of all the shop employees, and they all get a coffee mug that says safety is job one. And then they take that back to their workstation. It's a constant reminder of safety. And when they get to a certain level, so many hours they go without an industry, thus not interrupting productivity, then they can get that next tier of product. Nonprofit organizations, they use them for events like a 5K and a 10K walk or run. Staff members might have nice polo shirts on. Volunteers might have a t-shirt on. Then they have awards banquets for recognizing volunteers. They use them to raise funds as well. Retail can use them specifically getting away from those single-use plastic bags. Retail can go to nicer paper-handled bags. They can use the reusable bags. There could be those gifts with purchase. There could be grand opening giveaways. Tech companies can use them. We all sit in front of computers anymore. We all use cell phones. What type of products can they use that kind of ties into their industry? Buy a new laptop, get an accompanying mouse pad to go along with it. Trade shows and events. Trade shows, the exhibitors need to draw traffic to their booth, so it's great to have a nice giveaway there. And events, it could be everything from having T-shirts, which you get in when you get your cold beverage, you put it in a can cooler, and a variety of other things that can be used as well. All right, I'm here to sell promo products. Who's the person that buys them? Well, you go knocking on a door and you say, who buys promotional products? Who's the buyer? People might look at you funny and say, well, there's a lot of different people who buy them. So that's the great thing about this industry. You can sell to so many different decision makers. And these are a list of titles that those decision makers might have. So again, all those orders might funnel through a purchasing department. Someone different is going to make that decision. And all these people can work in one company. But what I love about promotional products is that they're perfect for booster clubs, because that president is going to want to buy products that they can sell to raise money for an end of season banquet and gifts for graduating seniors. And that's an opportunity to network with someone who probably has a job someplace else, and that the company they work for might have a need and never have used promotional products. And small business owners, I mean, this is an affordable form of advertising for one-person operations. If we think of a car detailer, one-person operation, they're probably not going to put an ad on TV or the radio or in a local newspaper. It costs a lot of money. But a well thought out promotional campaign that involves a promotional product that fits their business, which might be a phone mount that plugs into a car air vent so that the driver will always see their GPS directions, not having to have it in their lap and look at it. That's something that's going to be affordable. So when the owner of the car comes to pick it up, the small business owner says, hey, I left your bill on the front seat and there's a little gift for you there. And that gift is going to be appreciated. It's going to be used. And when a friend gets in the car and says, hey, where did you get that? I need one of them. He says, oh, I got it from my car detailer. And it could push business to that company. So it's really affordable for so many different industries. And now let's talk about some program and promotion questions that kind of need to be asked to figure out what is the appropriate product for a campaign. So what is it? Is it a welcome gift? Is it an event giveaway? Is it educational in nature? Is it for a fundraiser? I mean, for a fundraiser, you just don't want to sell blank products. They're going to want to sell branded products, usually with an event logo on there or a sports logo on there. So those types of nonprofits would probably want to get those products for a little, less than what they normally would, so that they can sell them and make a little more money. So what is the what? What is the why? Are we doing this for goodwill? Is it a thank you? A thank you for your business? A lot of companies will do that. You place an order with them, we're going to send you a company cap with that. Thank you for doing business with us. Is it a gift with purchase? Is it to create loyalty, affiliation, or spirit? I mean, think about it. In the soccer world, in Europe and in the United States, a lot of supporters, as they call the fans, have scarves to support their team. And they have actually supporter clubs, okay? So what those scarves do is they create loyalty. They create loyalty to the team. They create a sense of affiliation. So now, rather than being one person who's a fan of the soccer team, I'm part of this brotherhood and sisterhood of fans. I am part of this club. And then they create spirit as well. Those supporters wear them at games, regardless if it's in the middle of the summer in a hot area and it's 95 degrees out, they still wear their scarves. Demographics. Age groups will determine what to use and probably what not to use. A product that might be appropriate for the 65 and older demographic might be a little different than the product that you're going to use for an 18 to 24-year-old graphic. So it's important to know what is the age of the eventual end user. And then the objective. What do you want to do? Do you want to build some type of ROI in there? Do you want to increase sales? Do you want to build loyalty? Do you want to create awareness? You can do that. A smartly thought out and conceived promotion can achieve all these things. And now with social media, that create awareness part, promotional products can actually add to that, especially if there is a call to use a hashtag on a social platform that supports the company or the event or the charity or the nonprofit. And then finally, distribution method. How do we plan to get this into the hands of the end users? Is it just a handout at an event? You're at an Earth Day event and there's someone standing there handing out can coolers, okay? Is it a mail-in redemption program? That might be something that an organization runs that you earn some points and then you mail something in and you redeem it for branded products. Is it through the mail? Is it a direct mail piece? Some people think that that's kind of a dying way to get products in the hands of end users. But think of it this way. You open up your mailbox, and in the mailbox you got greeting cards, and you got bills, and you got your traditional junk mail advertising. And then there's an envelope in there that's padded, and you can tell that there's something in the middle of it. Or there's a small box in there. You're not expecting either of those things. I guarantee when you get in the house, the first thing you're going to open is that box, is that padded envelope, because you want to see what's inside. And what that does, it creates a sense of excitement, and that can go a long way for a campaign. So you're excited about opening, it's a cool promotional product, and you've got this campaign, this promotion in your hands, you're reading about it, and that can really help the organization that sent that out. So when we can answer all these questions, we can kind of really, get down and dig down and find out what types of products are going to work. When we know the what, the why, the demographics, the objective, and the distribution method. All right. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you for clicking through here. And if you have any questions, they can be sent to asieducation@asicentral.com. Again, I'm Joe Haley, Education Director for ASI's Training and Development Department, and thank you very much.